Build professional skills this semester with Adobe Creative Cloud and create standout work both in and out of the classroom. Save big on professional creativity tools. Students get 65% off Adobe Creative Cloud, including Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, Acrobat Pro, and 20+ creative apps. No matter what project you're working on, Adobe Creative Cloud apps can help you take it to the next level. Visit adobe.com/student to learn more.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
Attention Ditto Heads. Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the Soul of Excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
Welcome, my friends, to the Thursday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. We are the fastest hour in American media. The fire hose of news continues today, as it does every day and has done every day since the Trump administration began its second term, non-consecutive term. The news is coming in from all quarters. From Washington, D.C., of course, this morning came a tragic story about two people in love with each other, set to be engaged, Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lasinski, who met while working at the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. Their lives were snuffed out by apparently an activist, an unhappy activist, who shouted "Free Palestine" several times as he was being apprehended. It is a horrifically ugly story. The nation's Attorney General Pam Bondi described today the horrific scene outside of the Capitol Jewish Museum where this event took place in Washington, D.C. The two Israeli embassy staffers were fatally shot by a allegedly 31-year-old man, allegedly shot by him, 31-year-old Elias Rodriguez, who opened fire on a group of people. Pam Bondi said he will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Jeanine Pirro was also out with at the scene last night. It was horrific. Pirro said what she can say is that two young, beautiful people were gunned down needlessly. Saw his body. This is Pam Bondi. She said she was out last night with Jeanine Pirro at the scene. That she saw the body being taken away from the scene. It was horrific. No parent should have to be called and told that their children were violently murdered leaving a religious event at the Jewish Museum. That should never happen in this world, not in our country. And this person will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Today, by the way, out after the commencement at Columbia, there was another one of these protests. Anti-Israeli protesters torched their diplomas outside of Columbia University in New York on graduation day. Group of Columbia University students burned up their diplomas. Shortly after graduating, a group of Kiev wearing anti-Israeli protesters did this. Chaos erupted when many of those protesters who had their face covered with masks torched diplomas and food trays next to a sign that said "Free Mahmoud Khalil, the student who was arrested by immigration agents in March. The Trump administration, of course, doing their best in the face of legal challenges from activist judges to deport him. By the way, another one of these activist judges stepped up today and got in the way. Another one of these activist judges that believes they are the president, not the president, that they run the executive branch. Justice Moyang Hoon in Boston. This court cannot be asked to cover its eyes where the department employees are continuously fired, units are transferred out until the department becomes a shell of itself. This education department and this judge believes apparently that he has the power to decide for the executive how the executive branch should operate. The Supreme Court had better get a hold of this. I don't know how this is going to happen, but this is insanity. To have these district judges standing up and making national policy as if they run the executive branch. They don't have to like it. Democrats don't have to like it. But this is the law of the land. The executive controls the executive branch. It is a clear constitutional issue, and the Supreme Court needs to step in and stop this foolishness. I want to go back to this story because I had a reaction to it that, I don't know, perhaps maybe I should mention or not mention. But I'm going to mention it. It is, of course, horrific, and it is, of course, something that should be disturbing when you see these two innocent lives snuffed out by a stranger who has an agenda all his own. These people did nothing to deserve having their lives snuffed out by this killer. And the parents, of course, are grieving, and one cannot bear to think of the grief that this family is going through. They were getting ready to go to Jerusalem. He had bought an engagement ring, and that wasn't known to the families even until, this horrific story happened. But, ladies and gentlemen, the horror that this family is experiencing in front of now a media that is covering the story happens on a daily basis in America, in every city, every major city you can think of, multiple times a day in some cases, depending on the city. And the circumstances are hard. I read a story yesterday that just passed by in the Daily News about a 15-year-old who killed someone else, and in some cases it's children that are being killed by other children, and it happens every single day, to the point that it's no longer shocking, to the point that these things don't even make news, because if we were to do a news item for every child, every person, every human being that is murdered in cold blood under horrific circumstances, that innocent people that didn't do anything, if we devoted a story to each one of them, the entire hour would go by and we wouldn't be through. Every single day. Democrats and liberals, oh, he's going to go political. Yes, I am. Democrats and liberals have been in the forefront, not to say they are the only ones, but they have been in the forefront of fighting every single aspect of traditional morality in America. If you decided that you wanted to teach the Ten Commandments and why they are important in schools, you would be met with every single legal weaponry the left could pull out, from the ACLU to all the organizations. Yet, this same bunch will insist that your child be treated to seeing drag shows in school, that they will be if you go to the library, you better pre-read the books that you get from your kid, because I had a circumstance where daddy brought home a book for his son to reading the story, and had to stop and start making it up because the story happens to be about two boys doing something, and that two boys shouldn't be in normal circumstances. But you can't get away from the left's attack on traditional morality in America. When Rush talked about this once, and I always remembered it, and I remember as a young producer at WABC, when I was a young producer. This is before I was working with Rush. I was working a weekend show, and something happened, and we producers had to go check the news wires. In those days, we actually had machines that pumped out news stories constantly, and that's what it was called, the AP wire and the UPI wire and all the rest of it. And I didn't check the wire for some reason. I got involved, and I missed a massacre that happened where multiple people were killed, and I got my behind reamed out for it. It's like, how could you miss this story? The same way that the St. Valentine's Day Massacre was such big news that it turned into a movie and books and everything else, because it was such a shock to the consciousness. Every week in America, there's some mass killing, and it doesn't even register now. We live surrounded by a culture of death. We can abort 1 million human beings in a year, and no one blinks an eye. Instead, you have women that used to be the maternal caregivers of society demanding the right to participate in terminating their own offspring. Nobody sees anything wrong with that. I've got a story here, right here. OnlyFans star Annie Knight hospitalized after sex with 583 men in 6 hours. OnlyFans star Annie Knight has been hospitalized after sleeping with 583 men in 6 hours Sunday, which previously she said was shockingly easy. 28-year-old shared photos and video from her hospital bed. I guess 583 guys in a day isn't that good for your body. What about your soul? What about your spirit? What about the idea? She says she's been bleeding a lot since the challenge. It was definitely a bit raw down there, and I did get a small cut. She isn't the only OnlyFans star to embark on demanding endeavor. Earlier this year, Bonnie Blue said she slept with 1,057 men over just 12 hours, which would break Lisa Sparks' record of 919 men in 24 hours. Morality. The idea that there is a God. The idea that there's right and wrong. Killing in America has become commonplace. This one makes the headlines because of who they were, where it was, and the political ramifications around it. Every day in this country, there are thousands of parents undergoing this horrific grief, and nobody gives a damn. Their government doesn't give a damn because these killers walk. These killers are not given the maximum punishment. In fact, it almost seems like it's acceptable to a degree. Oh, well, if you get caught, we'll sentence you to a few years in jail. unless you happen to be an illegal immigrant driving over the speed limit in Colorado. In that case, when you kill, we'll give you probation. Keep it right here. Do not go away.
Rush.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Oh, Snerdley.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel? Or that white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code listen50 for 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50, code listen50. T's and C's apply.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Princess Di, American life is cheap in America 2025. Rush drew that connection to abortion, and absolutely right. And folks, this idea, if we truly understood what a miracle it was for human beings to actually exist, let alone the rest of this creation that we are a part of, if we truly understood how profound it was that we have consciousness, that we have life, these bodies, the bodies of all living creatures, and the creation that enabled all of this to happen, we would have so much respect and gratitude for this gift of life. Instead, what do we talk about every day? How cheap it is for so many. We're coming back. Don't go away.
Rush.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Oh, Snerdley.
What makes a great pair of glasses? At Warby Parker, it's all the invisible extras without the extra cost. Their designer quality frames start at $95, including prescription lenses, plus scratch-resistant, smudge-resistant, and anti-reflective coatings, and UV protection, and free adjustments for life. To find your next pair of glasses, sunglasses, or contact lenses, or to find the Warby Parker store nearest you, head over to warbyparker.com. That's warbyparker.com.
This episode is brought to you by Hulu, presenting Paradise. Paradise is Hulu's critically acclaimed addictive drama series, starring Sterling K. Brown, Julianne Nicholson, and James Marsden. The Daily Beast calls Paradise your next TV obsession, and the New York Times says it's exhilarating in all the right ways. Paradise is for your Emmy consideration in all categories, including Outstanding Drama Series. For more information, visit fyc.hulu.com.
Grandpa's here!
Hank's always helping out, Grandpa style. Now he's treating his prostate cancer with help from Xtandi enzalutamide. Xtandi 40 milligram tablets treats men with prostate cancer that has spread to other parts of the body and responds to a medical or surgical treatment to lower testosterone. Xtandi may cause serious side effects: seizure, a brain condition called PRESS, allergic reactions, heart disease that can lead to death, falls and bone fractures, swallowing problems, or choking that can lead to death. Stop Xtandi and get medical help at once if your face, tongue, lip, or throat start swelling. Tell your doctor at once if you faint, have a seizure, quickly worsening headache, decreased alertness, confusion, vision problems, chest pain or discomfort, or shortness of breath. Xtandi can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during and 3 months after Xtandi. Common side effects include muscle and joint pain, feeling unusually tired, hot flashes, constipation, less appetite, diarrhea, high blood pressure, bleeding, falls, fractures, and headache. Talk to your doctor and visit Xtandi.com.
Hi, this is Joe from Vanta. In today's digital world, compliance regulations are changing constantly, and earning customer trust has never mattered more. Vanta helps companies get compliant fast and stay secure with the most advanced AI, automation, and continuous monitoring out there. So whether you're a startup going for your first SOC 2 or ISO 27001, or a growing enterprise managing vendor risk, Vanta makes it quick, easy, and scalable. And I'm not just saying that because I work here. Get started at Vanta.com.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
In 1967, ladies and gentlemen, two different writers of song responded to an advertisement, an advert, in the UK musical paper, The New Musical Express. Liberty Records had put out an ad asking for songwriters to respond. The two of the many that responded were brought together and formed the partnership. Bernie Taupin was one of them, Reginald Dwight the other, of course known as Elton John. It's Bernie Taupin's birthday, and we wish him a very happy birthday. That collaboration has produced some amazing music. Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Don't Go Breaking My Heart, this one. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I guess that's why they call it the blues. Philadelphia Freedom. Sad songs say so much. Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. Sorry seems to be the hardest word. Your Song. All of that became the Bernie Taupin Elton John catalog. In addition, Bernie Taupin co-wrote These Dreams, Heart, We Built This City, Starship. Just an amazing career, an amazing duet of songwriters. And there are many, like Lennon McCarthy, Bacharach David, Tom Bell, Linda Creed, Ashford Simpson. But man, this duet of Bernie Taupin and Elton John, just totally amazing. We celebrate the birthday today of Bernie Taupin. All right, James Golden, Representative Omar was asked on her way out of the Capitol building today what about the shooting that took place at the museum. It's very quick. This was her response.
Congresswoman Omar, can I get your reaction to the shooting that happened in D.C. last night?
I'm going to go for now. I'm going to go for now, Mark. Couldn't even say condolences for the family.
I'm going to go for now. That was the response. Now, yesterday I promised that we would get to some other cuts, but I have some news stories to do first. Then we're going to try to slam as many of these audio bites for you in as possible. You know the, quote, big, beautiful bill passed last night in the House. Maybe Princess Di will want to talk with me on Saturday. Maybe other things will overtake it. Look, this bill has still got to go through the Senate. So this is the first step. We can get all worked up now. We need to just see what the Senate's going to do. It did pass, and it passed with very little room to spare, which means if the Senate engages in a lot of changes in their bill before it's sent back to conference, This is going to be an interesting battle, but hopeful that most of it will prevail. The woman that spit on Edward R. Martin Jr. about 2 weeks ago, was that? May 8th. Standing outside doing an interview, turns around. Are you Ed Martin? Are you Ed Martin? And she lunges at him and spits at him, spits on him. You're a disgusting man. F you, Ed Martin. Her name is Emily Gabriella Summer, according to authorities. She has been arrested, and a criminal complaint in U.S. District Court has been filed. If you missed this story, what we already knew, but on steroids, retired Lieutenant Colonel Buzz Patterson has lit a fire under Democrats. You'll find that story in the Daily BS. He was a senior military aide to then-President Bill Clinton, revealed that aboard Air Force One, Clinton pretty much molested a woman who was, here is the story. Clinton cornered a female Air Force One steward in the galley, molested her. He says she was a young staff sergeant, married with children. I knew her, liked her. She was super sweet, says Patterson. Now she was in tears. I asked the pilot what she wanted. He told me she didn't want to be another bimbo. One of Clinton perceived in the press, because the press would attack any woman that leveled their claims against what Bill Clinton had done to them. But she just wanted an apology. So he says one of the hardest days of his life is he had to walk into the Oval Office, tell the commander-in-chief he needed to apologize to the young lady. 2 weeks later, aboard Air Force One, he says that the president offered a very uncontrite half apology. He didn't really care. It's just another day in Clinton world. So that story. We had the big South African story yesterday. Of course, I laughed myself silly over all of these stories about how he was ambushed. The South African president doesn't see it that way. He says, into the mouth of Trump, hell no. He said it was a good meeting. They had a good meeting, and he didn't go to all of that. Now, two things that happened today, and I do need to get to some of these sound bites, but there are some major things happening today. This administration, and I have to say, I stand up and applaud what they are doing. This administration has terminated. That's a word Democrats like when it deals with human life, but not when it deals with their money. The Department of Homeland Security is eliminating the student visa program at Harvard University. Folks, this is a big deal. It's a severe consequence for what DHS says is Harvard's refusal to comply with records. They want to see records of student visa holders. Harvard is not cooperating. The administration is holding Harvard accountable for fostering violence, anti-Semitism, and coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party, said Kristi Noem. It's a privilege, not a right, for universities to enroll foreign students and benefit from their higher tuition payments to help pad their multi-billion-dollar endowments. Harvard had a lot of opportunities to do the right thing. They didn't do it. She says, and she sent them a letter as a result of your brazen refusal to comply with multiple requests to provide the Department of Homeland Security pertinent information while perpetuating an unsafe college campus environment that is hostile to Jewish students, promotes pro-Hamas rhetoric, employs racist, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. You have lost this privilege. And Ice Barbie gave them 72 hours to provide the information that Homeland Security has demanded in order to regain their visa program for next year. Now, why is this a big deal? 27% of Harvard students are foreign enrollments. And they charge $59,000 a year tuition, but the cost goes up to almost $87,000 a year when you include room and board. International students pay the largest share of that compared to everybody else. About 6,800 international students attended Harvard this year, 27% of the student body. And for them, they're going to either have to transfer or go back home. Trump administration they are not playing. This is amazing. And they are taking no prisoners. All right, we got to do some sound bites real quick because I've got so much stuff. Oh, by the way, let's start with Brandon Johnson, and then I can get into this. Cut number 12. Brandon Johnson rails on Trump. Here's what that sounds like.
You know, as far as, the president's animus towards women, people of color, working people, we have always known who he has been. And this is not a surprise. He's a monster. Period. We have the most diverse administration in the history of Chicago. And he is threatened by that. You can tell when someone is fearful is because they act out. We have a president that is screaming and having tantrums right now because we have an administration that reflects the city of Chicago, but he would much rather have administrations that reflect the country club.
Now, what is behind all of this is there's a DOJ investigation into the race-based hiring in Chicago. That's because this mayor ran his mouth. He's at a church having a quote-unquote lakeside chat with Bishop Byron Brazier at the the church, daggone it, in Woodland. He said, he kept referring to our people, business and economic development. The deputy mayor is a black woman. Department of Planning and Development, black woman. Infrastructure, deputy mayor, black woman. Chief operations officer, a black man. Budget director, a black man. Senior advisor is a black man. And then he went on to say that he talked about black people. I got to find that quote. Are the most kind of generous people on the planet or something. It's just this total race-based obsession with hiring black people. So just imagine. You're in a major city, and imagine it was a Republican city. And you had the mayor come out and say, well, the chief of planner, we got a white man, got a white woman, we got a white woman, we got another white woman there, got a white woman, and we got a white guy here, and we got another white guy there. While Al Sharpton and that whole ilk of so-called civil rights leaders be all over PMS, NBC, CNN, trotting their way down to the New York Times newsroom to make sure that they get some front page coverage. They'd be all over the place. What a racist, white supremacist act this was. But why is it okay? Why is it okay to trump the color of skin of anybody in terms of hiring instead of merit? So yeah, the DOJ is investigating his response to turn on Trump. Okay, yesterday I promised you Lee Zeldin. We got to do Lee Zeldin today because this was some of the best ever congressional hearing. Cut 8, Senator Whitehouse, he of the segregated country club ilk up there, and yeah, he did. Yeah, no blacks allowed. We don't want them Ingros next to mine. Oh, we ain't going to that country club. None of y'all. Anyway, he was chomping at the bit with Lee Zeldin because Lee Zeldin has actually canceled some of these leftist grants that they have been shoveling money to liberal groups at. This is what that sounded like.
I conduct an individual review of everything, and that concept doesn't work for you.
When did you conduct an individualized review
every
of
single
781
because
grants?
We have a zero tolerance
policy. Will you show me your schedule?
Dollars. We inherit something. You don't care about wasting money.
Will you show me your schedule?
You don't care about wasting money, but the Trump administration does, Senator.
Will you show me your schedule?
Our schedule's publicly released. We don't put on the schedule every single moment of the day.
Will you show me your schedule to prove your assertion that you did individualized review of 781?
I'm under oath telling you that I was reviewing this stuff and working on it almost every single day.
And the problem
because
with
when I was before this committee, I was asked by Senator Ricketts, if confirmed, would I immediately make this a top priority to go through all the grant funding going through EPA to make sure that we were cracking down on every waste, every aspect of abuse. Because I have to come back here in front of Senator Ricketts today. And even though you don't care about wasting tax dollars, Senator Ricketts does.
And I'm
going to do my job because the American public cares about us not wasting tax dollars.
And the problem with your assertion here today is that it is belied by your own employees' sworn statements in court and by the decision of the Department of Justice to admit that what you say isn't true.
You're not grasping the fact that we would have multiple employees looking at these grants. That concept just escapes you like that's even a possibility.
The only thing about that is that that's not true.
You don't care about 99% of this story.
That's not true according to your own employees'
You're not grasping
testimony.
I don't know what to say to you. You're insisting on the fact.
I'm insisting on the facts. That's exactly what I'm insisting on. I'm insisting on the facts, and I now have three different versions of the facts,
that Travis Hoyles
Department of Justice
lawyers
lawyers
are working on this every
who
single
admitted
day
in court that what you're saying now is not true.
We're not going to waste dollars just because you insist
Nail him, Lee.
on EPA
Enough of this.
lighting taxpayer dollars on fire.
No.
American taxpayers, they put President Trump in office because of people like you. They have Republicans in charge of the House and Senate because of people like you. Because you don't care about 99% of this story. You don't want me to go through the list of all the evidence of waste and abuse.
No, what I want you to do
in conflicts of interest.
What I want you to do.
Unqualified recipients. You don't care about
what I want you to do.
Yes, delicious. Like I said, this has been going on every single one of these. Okay, Marco Rubio, cut 7. Oh, we can't with Pramila Jayapal. We got to go to a break if we have time, folks. We're loaded. We didn't even get to the South African stuff, and there's a lot of South African stuff to get to. James Golden and Snerdley, the fastest hour in American media, continues. Don't go away.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Snerdley.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance.
RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV Insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV Insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injury is an additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
It's the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush.
Now, here's James Golden.
Okay, the British invasion, 1965, moves to then 1971. Rolling Stones, I think this was their, what was there? It was their second number one album, but I don't remember which album this was, whether this was album number, anyway. Sticky Fingers album. Of course, Brown Sugar, the big hit on that. That started a 4-week number one on the album charts. The album Sticky Fingers on this day in 1971. Yeah, the tongue and lip design came on that album. Enough of that. Let's very quickly, my friends, Brooklyn. We got to head to Brooklyn for a minute. Oh, by the way, how about those Knicks? 17 points, something like that. With how much time left in the game?
2 minutes.
2 minutes left in the game, up by 17 points.
Hero ball. Hero ball for the loss.
And they lose. We got to go to Brooklyn, ladies and gentlemen. Every time Republicans talk about the replacement, and they didn't even come up with it, the replacement theory. The left started talking about it first. But I just want you to hear this, because they claim that Republicans are lying. Listen to New York City Councilwoman Yvette Clarke.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. We have a diaspora that can absorb a significant number of these migrants. And when I hear colleagues talk about, the doors of the inn being closed, no room in the inn, I'm saying, I need more people in my district just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here.
So if you didn't get that, and I'm sure you did get it, what's all this talk about we don't have no room for migrants? I need those migrants in my district for redistricting purposes. Folks, she's admitting what the whole scam has been all along. More illegal immigrants to her means her district is going to be safe. We have so much more that we left on the table, but we'll get to it tomorrow. Some of it, as much as we can, God willing, we're here tomorrow. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back tomorrow. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. 583? Bye.
Thanks for listening to Katz and Cosby with John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. You can hear Katz and Cosby weekdays at 5. It's the 5 o'clock show on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?